Okay, so this past weekend I was at PAX West, and I had the lucky opportunity to get some time with Team Cherry's Hollow Knight Silksong and get a chance to play it. Since this game was first announced in around 2019, I've been super excited to play this game. They were at the Nintendo Direct when they were doing like this showcase for the Switch 2 lineup, and it was like a brief moment, but I lost my mind when I saw it, just kind of coming more and more of a reality as we saw. And then they got their trailer and released it at Gamescom, and then I find out that it's going to be playable at PAX. So I was so stoked at the opportunity to get a chance to play this. So at PAX West, it was also my birthday at the start of PAX on Friday, and I was like, all right, the stars could align. So I gotta set the scene. And if you want to jump ahead, I'll set a mark to timestamp where it starts for the gameplay footage, but if you want to get a setup for what lined up and what happened and how it happened, I'm going to go into that now. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to PAX West this year as a media press creator category, and for media press and creators, they're allowed 1 hour on Friday ahead of the doors being open to the public. Just on Friday, just 1 hour. So you really got to make a choice. There was still quite a lot. You think it's a smaller number, but PAX is huge, and the amount of media and creators out there just trying to get coverage is a lot. So it's still a bit of a fight. But I was like, this is going to be my one shot. This is my one chance to play this game if I'm going to play it on my birthday at PAX ahead of its release. If it happens, this is it. This is the moment. So anyway, I get there early. I got my Silksong shirt on in hopes that it would somehow, I don't know, manifest the opportunity for me. I was just, anything I could channel, I was like, I gotta just channel it, make it happen. And I was prepping ahead of time. So the thing to know is that, PAX, has their map. They show all the areas they're going to have this. Silksong wasn't in its own space. It was part of Nintendo's space. Nintendo had their Pokemon Z to A and their Kirby areas, and then Nintendo third party had its own section. So I learned about this. I'm like, okay, that's where I got to go. There are two things I didn't know that they were doing with the setup of this. And so one was the area was kind of like a fenced off just space for the Nintendo third-party games. They had 5 games available. They gave you this little like card to check mark, and you had time. You could spend as much time in this area as you wanted, but the 5 games they had were Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, Hades 2, Borderlands 4, Elden Ring on Switch 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. The main thing that concerned me was all of these stations, for all the other games except for Silksong, had about 1 to 2 rows of 5 to 6 stations each game. So you had each of the other 4 having multiple stations. Hollow Knight had a single podium. Silksong had a single podium with 1 Switch 2 on each side of it. So 4 consoles in total available to play Hollow Knight Silksong at PAX West. That was concern number 1. Concern number 2 was when I get there, the line's quickly forming, and I beeline straight to it. I knew exactly where it'd be, and I get there, the line was already forming, and you just started hearing the Nintendo staff talking. And as they're talking, apparently, the Silksong isn't part of the rest of the others' kind of lineup. You get in this line to enter that area, but only randomly selected, while limited capacity, like specific tickets were being handed out to individuals to line up separately for Hollow Knight Silksong. It was at this point that I just accepted it is not possible. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen with the amount of people ahead of me. It's not in the cards. It's okay. We tried everything we could to play this game at PAX West on my birthday. We did everything. We there was nothing else to do. So it was just like, throw your arms up. What are you going to do? It's fine. It's not like the end of the world. It's literally coming out in a few days. So it was just a special, like, can we like make this day a little special? That was all I was really aiming for. But as fate would have it, they were on our sides. I go up to the front, I go to the entrance, and the guy hands me the last ticket, and he says, right this way, go over that way, that's for the Silksong line. And I don't know. My cheeks are already red. I think I was smiling nonstop, ear to ear, for the next few hours after that. I was like, I can't believe this happened. So now let's get into what I played. The demo itself was about 15 minutes in total. They give you some time, and it was everything in this area was on the Switch too, but the Hades, or not the Hades, the Silksong game demo was purely handheld. So all 4 of the stations were just there. You just literally huddled around each other, and then they just kind of had you with the Switch 2, which is fine. I get there, and then I was allowed to record my footage, which I'm showing, but keep in mind it is kind of a small podium, so stationing my recording device was a little challenging, getting it set up. The game looks and feels amazing. This is, again, on Switch 2 handheld. It was so smooth. It was so snappy. They offered 2 demos to choose from. You could choose the more introductory type of, hey, learn how the mechanics work, this and that, or the more challenging, which they alluded to may have 1 to 2 boss encounters in it, or boss-like encounters. And I opted immediately for that because I was hoping to see what the interesting encounters could be, what the challenging stuff could be. And I wasn't disappointed. The way Hornet plays feels familiar, but also very different. She's very acrobatic, just like how I remembered her when I was first fighting her in the original Hollow Knight game. The platforming feels good. The movement is smooth. You can just kind of tell based on like the way she moves and how acrobatic they have her just at base level kind of be, that they're going to have a lot of interesting platforming challenges in store for us in this game, and I'm really excited for that. But the biggest thing, like I said, I was eager for was the challenging kind of encounters. So they had a few like tough enemy encounters where it's like, fight a wave of them. And I was kind of trial and erroring through that. Keep in mind, also, I needed to note the gameplay I'm showing. I was intentionally very reckless with my run. 1, because of time. 2, because I really wanted to see what, not just flawless runs, I want to see what happens when you get hit. I want to see what happens when you die. I want to see what happens. What do you have to do? What do you don't do? What is different? What is the same? So that was on my mind, and like I was just like, okay, just experience everything, show everything as much as possible. So just recklessly kind of going through it, but we get to the boss encounter eventually, and it was like a series of like open door to go to this, to open that, to open this, and familiar in the Metroidvania way. If you know, you know. But you get to the boss kind of encounter, and it's set on this little platform stage with the health bar and everything. Or no health bar, sorry. But the scene is set, the music kind of kicks in, and Team Cherry is cooking. Like they gave me a little taste, and it was just enough to convince me like we're in for something really fun and special, because the way that encounter felt, it felt like they're not just doing what they had done before in these encounters. I remember, like, I'll give some examples. Like in the original Hollow Knight, like when the boss would become further and further damaged, it would enter kind of a second phase for many of the cases. It really just sped up and became more aggressive. In this one, it felt like the way it felt to me in the experience in the moment was new moves start to come out, new things that you didn't realize the enemy was capable of start happening. I'm like, okay, I'm getting the sense that they're not revealing all their cards. They're just giving you a little bit of a taste, and like, where does the mind go from there? Like, what else could they be doing? What could they be challenging? What could they save for like an oh shit kind of moment in the game? And having seen what I saw, having played what I played, I feel very confident about like that potential that exists in this game. Having heard also what they've been saying in several interviews and stuff, of there's not just one hub world, there's multiple, and there's interconnected stories and this and that. I'm like, okay, I think this is going to be an expansive kind of look at what they've been trying to do since the inception of this game, first starting out as a DLC, and their ideas just kept growing and growing and becoming what it is and what it's about to be on its release. But there was some worry. I'm not gonna lie, there was some worry initially, because Hollow Knight, having coming out so many years ago, it's inspired so many games. It's inspired so many Metroidvania style games. One of my favorite was last year with Prince of Persia, and that one, like each of these games, that one being one of many, have done so much to elevate and just platform off of what Hollow Knight had been an inspiration for. So much can happen in that years of gap, but it's like, can they like learn and develop on their own ways? And what is that? You know, there's always this what if it's just too familiar and it's the same, and we've seen so many other great things. But having played this now, I feel pretty confident in saying like my excitement is further like validated. I was in a state of euphoria, having beat the little boss in my, I think it was like my second or third attempt. The staff that was like kind of on hand, just supervising and answering questions, told me I was the first one to do it. Caveat, I know I was literally the start of the day. I don't care that on my birthday that's being told to me, just like maybe just, I was over the moon. I was like, yeah, first one for the day, let's go. Super stoked. But it meant a lot to me. So I took some photos to commemorate the moment. It was a really cool moment. It was a really cool time. I stuck around in that like Nintendo playpen area to try some other games, but I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of in such a euphoric state that I don't know how much of the other games in that space registered for me. They were cool, but I was just like, did this just happen? Is this real? Am I dreaming? And so yeah, it was such a good time. And like, I want to talk about the game is about to come out in a day or two, and I want to talk about what I'm looking forward to. Okay, so this game, Hollow Knight Silksong, is coming out on the 4th of September, and it's just after this weekend. So I gotta say, they just announced recently that the price is going to be just $20. They didn't release early copies to websites or review sites or anything to get early reviews in, because they wanted to do right by the kickstarting backers that supported this initiative in the first place, that when it was originally conceived of as a DLC. And they recently did an interview with Jason Schreier when they did their announcement trailer for Gamescom, announcing the release date and everything, of why it took them so long to make this game. And it's a great article. I encourage you to read it on Bloomberg. Go check it out. I'll try to put the link in the show notes, but essentially boils down to, in a kind of a very reductive way, but they just enjoyed making this game. They enjoyed the process of making this game and the work they wanted to put in. They just kept like building and building and building off of it. And fortunately, like, this is something to keep in mind in the indie game space, especially when you hit gold like that, with like they did with Hollow Knight, it afforded them the opportunity to take that financial pressure off to allow them to do something like that. And I'm sure many other factors have come into play as well, but like, so many times I think you see things like this happen where they hit success and they're like, we got to rush out, do 8 more games, 10 sequels, 15 spinoffs and this and that. They stayed true to what they wanted to do and what they loved, and the process of it all, really. It's like the love of the game, the love of the process. And that is what I'm looking forward to more than anything else, honestly. The game's coming out. Don't get me wrong, I'm elated. I'm so excited for this weekend. I thought I just had my little holiday vacation weekend at PAX. I'm about to have another with this game's release. But what I'm really looking forward to is seeing more stories like this, more stories like Hollow Knight Silksong, even Clair Obscur Expedition 33 having coming out earlier this year, sweeping everyone's feet off the ground, mine included, as a small like studio doing its own IP, showing the world, showing the industry, showing fans, you can make something like that and have everyone enamored. That you do not know, you wouldn't believe how many people I saw in Clair Obscur cosplay at PAX West. The passion was there, and like every person I've been trying to get to play this game has walked away like I'm changed, and like rightfully so. Like games like that, games like Hollow Knight, games like Expedition 33 change us and impact us in such a passionate way. And like I want more stories like that. I want to see this industry shift in a positive direction. We hear time and again so many stories and hardships hitting this industry as of the last 5+ years, that many of us become numb to it. Many people in the industry struggle with it and are navigating through it. Just to hear this, I think uplifts and makes you kind of realize there are people making ways, and I hope that catches on. I hope that inspires people. I hope that makes things happen. And so that's my biggest thing I'm looking forward to coming out of this demo, coming out of this experience. And I gotta say, PAX West was filled with many moments and experiences like that, with developers I spoke to, with games I played. with interviews I've done, hearing that passion, it's there, and just going to an event like this reminds me of that in a big way, and I think people need to hear those stories. People need to see those things. So I'm very excited. This is like one of my first videos coming out of PAX. I had to get it out immediately, just to it's the thing I've been most excited about so much. But there are so many things I want to talk about from this past weekend at PAX that I had the good fortunate experience, and people I got a chance to talk to. So stay tuned. If you like this, if you liked anything else that I've done or that I'm about to share, stay tuned. Subscribe, please. I appreciate it. It goes a long way. And I'll catch you on the next save point.
My fault. You're good. Can you play it down like that? Yeah. Just like right here? Yeah. If you want, you can just press the button, skip the cutscene. If you want. Oh, nice. Okay. You're our first person to beat her.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a good fight.
Good job.
Thank you. I like the pairing and then the move at the bottom.
This is more dodgy than the last one. Yeah, it does make sure that it gives you just as challenging of a time.
That's so good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, no.